Did you really think you'd escaped me? A woman like you doesn't get happy endings, not while I'm still alive. Those were the chilling words that shattered her fragile peace. She thought the nightmare was over, her husband gone, her children safe, and a second chance finally within reach. But sometimes the villains don't stay buried. Sometimes they return, darker, crueler, and more determined to destroy. Her laughter turned to tears, her comfort to chaos, as a new battle began, one far more dangerous than the first. And this time, it wasn't just her life at stake, but the very future of her children. Sometimes the ending you celebrated is only the prologue to the real story. This is part 2 of her journey, where love, betrayal, and survival collide in ways no one ever imagined. And today, it is being retold by me. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request, please. Subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, because together we are not just telling stories, we are keeping hope alive. The little rental house was quiet except for the sound of children's laughter. "Mommy, my sock's inside out!" Ethan hopped on one foot, his curls bouncing. "Come here," Emily said, kneeling to fix it. She smiled, but her hands still shook sometimes when she buttoned their shirts or tied their shoes. Ella stood at the counter, fixing her headband in the toaster's reflection. "Do I look like a teacher?" "You look like my boss," Emily teased softly. The doorbell rang twice. Their code. "David!" Ella shouted, running to the door. "Morning, team," David said, stepping in with coffee and a bag of muffins. He ruffled Ethan's hair. "Emergency breakfast. Chocolate chip." Emily shook her head. "You spoil them." "Good. Someone should." His tone was light, but his eyes searched hers, checking, always checking if she was okay. She forced a smile. "We're fine." But her chest tightened. Fine never lasted. Her small office sat above a hair salon. A sign on the glass door read, "Stone, paper, and proof." She had a desk from the thrift store, a temperamental printer, and a stack of forms waiting. She was rebuilding piece by fragile piece. Clients trickled in, a mechanic needing invoices typed, a grandmother dictating a letter to her son. Emily listened, typed, smiled. Every dollar she earned felt like a tiny victory. At noon, Ruby from the thrift store next door brought a flower in an old jar. Looked like hope. Thought you needed it. Emily set it by the printer. "Thank you." Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Blue dress today. Cute. Her hand froze. She glanced down at her dress. Blue. The phone slipped onto the desk. Another text followed. "How many times did you check the locks last night? 2? 3? Her vision blurred. She blocked the number, but her heart hammered against her ribs. She texted David. "Unknown number. Creepy messages." "I'm okay. Forward it. Block it. Don't delete anything," he replied. Emily tried to work, but the walls felt thinner, the windows clearer, the shadows closer. That night, she tried to smile through cookie baking with the twins. They licked batter from spoons, giggled when chocolate chips rolled onto the floor, begged for an extra story before bed. She almost felt normal again. Then the doorbell rang once. Not their code. Emily's breath caught. She opened the door carefully. No one stood outside. On the mat, an envelope. Inside, 4 words. "Did you really think you'd escaped me?" Her fingers went numb. She locked the door, checked it twice, then checked again. Her body shook so badly she dropped the envelope on the counter. Her eyes darted to the windows. The street looked empty. But it didn't feel empty. It felt watched. David came quickly. He read the note, his jaw tight. "He's back," Emily whispered, voice cracking. "He's here. I know it. He's here." David steadied her arm. "We'll make a report. Cameras." "I can't afford cameras," she said, choking. "I'll cover it," he said firmly. "This isn't a debate." Her hands trembled. What if he's right outside? What if he's waiting for me to close my eyes? David's eyes softened. Then we make sure you're never alone with that fear. But when he left that night, the silence in the house was unbearable. Emily sat awake until morning, staring at the door, whispering prayers she wasn't sure anyone heard. The next day, the printer jammed, papers chewed and spit out crooked. Emily hit it lightly, whispering, "Please, not today." When she stepped out to grab lunch and came back, her office door was cracked open. She froze. On the wall, in red marker, 3 words: liar, thief, trash. Emily's legs nearly gave out. Her soup spilled across the floor, her chest tightened until she gasped. She clutched her phone with shaking hands, dialing David. Her voice cracked. He was here. In my office, he wrote on the wall, "Emily, listen. I can't breathe. He was here. He's coming closer, David, I know it." Her sobs shook the line. David tried to calm her, but Emily couldn't. She locked herself in until he arrived, every creak in the building making her flinch. That night, when she walked to her car, she stopped dead. Both front tires were slashed. Rubber sagged, cut clean through. For a heartbeat, she froze. Then panic hit like a wave. She stumbled back, clutching her bag so tight it cut into her hands. Her breathing came in gasps. Her vision blurred. She spun, scanning shadows, convinced Michael would step out at any moment. Ruby found her like that, trembling and pale. "Emily, honey, what happened?" Emily pointed, her voice barely a whisper. He was here. He's following me. He wants me scared." Ruby squeezed her arm. "We'll call David." Right now, by the time he arrived, Emily was shaking so badly she could barely speak. "He's not gone," she sobbed. "He's watching me." "He's waiting." David wrapped a blanket from his car around her shoulders. "You're safe for tonight. I won't leave you like this. We'll get through this." But even in his arms, Emily's body shook with terror. The twins tried to make her laugh with their crayon drawings of dinosaurs and playgrounds. She hung them on the fridge with shaking hands, kissed their foreheads, and tucked them in. For one fragile moment, the house was quiet. Then she heard it. A scrape at the front door. Something slid under it. Emily's blood froze. She bent slowly and picked it up. A glossy photo. Her twins. Ella laughing on the slide. Ethan climbing the steps at school. The picture was fresh. Taken that morning. On the back, jagged black letters. Nice school. Cute kids. Her knees buckled. She sank to the floor, clutching the photo to her chest, rocking back and forth as tears spilled. Her children were sleeping down the hall, innocent and unaware. And Michael had been there, watching them. Her voice broke as she called David. He was at the school. He took their picture. He's not just after me. He's after them. David's voice was urgent. "Lock everything." "I'm on my way." Emily sat against the door, hugging her knees. Every creak made her flinch. For the first time since the gala, she felt as helpless as she had the night she collapsed on her kitchen floor. Tears blurred the photo in her hand. She whispered, broken and terrified, "He's going to take everything from me." And in the silence of that small house, Michael's shadow crept back into her life. The nightmare had only just begun. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give a future to children and women who have been abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Also, let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from, and how did this story speak to you? The morning after finding the photo, Emily sat in the police station with David at her side. The twins were with Ruby, coloring in her thrift shop. An officer tapped at a keyboard while Emily held the plastic bag with the letter and the picture. "He left these," Emily said. Her voice was shaky. "He's watching us. He was at my children's school." The officer frowned, but his tone was detached. "Do you have proof it was your husband?" "My ex-husband," Emily said quickly. "And yes, who else would write this?" The officer shrugged. Without fingerprints or a direct witness, this could be anyone. A prank, Emily's chest tightened. A prank? On a mother with 2 children? David leaned forward, his voice sharp. She was nearly killed by him last year. It's on record. And now she's getting threatening letters and her car's been vandalized. This isn't a prank. This is escalation. The officer raised his brows, unimpressed. We'll make a note. But unless he breaks in or harms you again, there's not much we can do. Emily's throat burned. So I'm supposed to wait until he kills me? Ma'am, the officer said, we're just asking you to stay calm. Don't make this bigger than it is. Her mouth fell open. Stay calm. Don't make it bigger. She wanted to scream. As they left, David muttered, they'll take you seriously when it's too late. Emily hugged her arms. People believed Michael's lies more than her truth. Again. The next week was worse. At the grocery store, whispers followed her. That's her, the one who tried to ruin Michael. I heard she faked everything for attention. No wonder he left her. Emily pushed the cart faster, head down, cheeks burning. Ella and Ethan sat in the basket, confused. Mommy, why are people staring? Ethan asked. Because they don't know the truth, Emily said softly. Don't worry, baby. But inside, she wanted to cry. Michael had poisoned their minds even after losing everything. One evening, Patricia showed up at Emily's office. The older woman stood in a grey suit, pearls gleaming, perfume choking the air. Her expression was sharp enough to cut glass. Emily froze. What are you doing here? Patricia stepped inside without asking. You thought you won, didn't you? Standing in that ballroom humiliating my son. But you've made a terrible mistake. Emily's pulse quickened. He almost killed me. He stole from me. He threatened me. Patricia's laugh was cold. My son is not perfect, but you're the poison. You ruined his life, his reputation, his future. And now I'll ruin yours. Emily's hands clenched at her sides. Stay away from my children. Patricia smirked. You mean my grandchildren? You don't deserve them. Everyone sees it. You're unstable, paranoid, unfit. I'll make sure the court agrees. Emily's heart dropped. What are you saying? Patricia leaned close, her voice a hiss. You'll lose them, Emily. Michael will get custody and you'll have nothing left but your pathetic little office. Emily's breath caught. He can't. He wouldn't. He already has lawyers working on it, Patricia said. You'll get papers soon. You can fight, but you won't win. I still have friends in high places. Tears stung Emily's eyes, but she held Patricia's gaze. I won't let you take my babies. Patricia's smile was cruel. We'll see. She turned and walked out, heels clicking like gavel strikes. Emily sank into her chair, trembling. She grabbed her phone and called David. She came here, Emily whispered. Patricia, she said, Michael's suing for custody. David's voice tightened. I'll come right now. You don't face this alone. The papers came 2 days later. A thick envelope, stamped and sealed. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside, legal documents, cold, heavy words. Petition for custody. The lines blurred as she read. Michael claimed Emily was mentally unstable, that she suffered hallucinations and paranoia, that she fabricated abuse to destroy him, that she was unfit to raise children. She dropped the papers onto the table, gasping, No, 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 no. Ella and Ethan ran in, holding toy cars. Mommy, what's wrong? Emily forced a smile through tears. Nothing, babies. Go play. Mommy just needs a minute. They ran off, but her chest heaved. Michael didn't just want to scare her. He wanted to take her children. David came that night. She handed him the papers with shaking hands. He wants them, she whispered. He wants to take Ella and Ethan. David read, his jaw tightening. This is garbage. Lies, but lies people believe, Emily said, voice breaking. They already think I'm unstable. What if the court agrees? What if they take them from me? David gripped her shoulders. Listen to me. You're their mother. You've fought for them every day. You've given them safety, love, everything Michael never did. You are not unfit. Emily covered her face, sobbing. He'll twist everything. He'll use Patricia. I can't lose them, David. I can't. You won't, David said firmly. We'll get a lawyer, a good one. We'll fight. The lawyer was a woman named Claire, calm but direct. She flipped through the papers and sighed. This is ugly, she said. He's pulling every trick. Fabricating mental illness, questioning your stability, painting you as vindictive. He's going for blood. Emily swallowed hard. Can he win? Claire hesitated. Normally no. But... Emily's stomach dropped. But what? Claire leaned forward. I've heard rumours. Judges being bribed. Cases decided before they're argued. If Michael's mother is involved, and she has influence, this could get dangerous. Emily's throat closed. So what are you saying? Claire met her eyes. If we don't fight smart, you could lose your children. The room spun. Emily gripped the edge of the desk to steady herself. Lose her children. Lose her. Michael wasn't just haunting her anymore. He was reaching for the only reason she had survived at all. That night, Emily sat by the twins' beds, watching them sleep. Ella clutched a stuffed bear. Ethan sucked his thumb. Their little breaths rose and fell in rhythm. Her tears dripped onto the blanket. She whispered, I'll fight for you, no matter what it takes. He will not take you. But in her chest, fear gnawed like fire. Michael had the world fooled once, and with Patricia's shadow behind him, he might do it again. The war had only just begun. Emily thought she knew loneliness. She thought she had felt it during the long nights after Michael's beatings, when she lay in their grand mansion staring at the ceiling, her body aching and her heart numb. But this was a different kind of loneliness. It was the kind that walked beside her in daylight, in the faces of neighbours, in the whispers at church, in the cold silence of people she once called friends. It began like a trickle. Messages left unanswered. Coffee dates cancelled. Smiles that slid off faces, the moment she passed. By the second week, the trickle had become a flood. At the grocery store, a woman she had once babysat for clutched her cart tighter and whispered loudly to her friend. She's the one who ruined Michael. Made up stories, they say. Didn't she fake being sick, collapsing for sympathy? Emily turned away, her cheeks burning. The twins sat in the cart, staring. Mommy, Ethan whispered. Why are they looking at you like that? She forced a smile, though her throat ached. Because they don't know the truth, baby. Don't worry, but her chest was on fire. The betrayals didn't stop there. Her Aunt Margaret, who had once cried at Emily's hospital bedside, visited unannounced. Emily made tea, grateful for company. But Margaret's eyes were cool as they scanned the modest living room. So, this is how you live now, Margaret said, her lips curling slightly. It's enough, Emily said softly. It's safe for the twins. Margaret stirred her tea once, twice, then set the spoon down with a sharp clink. Michael called me. Emily's stomach dropped. What did he say? That you're unstable. That you've been spreading lies about him. Honestly, Emily, you've always been dramatic. Emily's hands tightened on her cup. Dramatic? He nearly killed me. He stole from me. Margaret cut her off. He offered to pay my medical bills. He's been generous when you've been nothing but trouble. He asked if I'd speak for him if the court calls Emily's breath court. You'd lie for him? I'd tell my truth, Margaret said, her voice icy. That you've always been fragile. That you can't handle pressure. And that those children deserve stability, not your constant breakdowns. Emily's voice cracked. He paid you to betray me. Margaret stood, smoothing her coat. He didn't have to pay me to see what's right. When the door shut behind her, Emily sank to the floor, shaking, the tea still steaming on the table. Days later, her cousin Claire called. "I don't want to do this, Emily," she began, her voice shaky. "But Michael, he offered money." "Enough to save my house. If I don't testify, I'll lose everything." Emily pressed the phone to her ear, trembling. "So you'll lie about me? You'll tell the court I'm unfit?" Silence. Then a whisper. "I'm sorry." The line went dead. Emily sat in the dark living room, clutching the phone like it had burned her. Even her own blood was selling her to him. That night, David found her on the floor of the twins' room, curled against their bunk bed ladder, tears running down her face as the children slept above her. "They'll take them," she whispered. "Everyone believes him." "Even my family," David knelt, his voice steady but fierce. "Not everyone. I believe you. Your kids believe you. That's enough to fight with." She looked at him, eyes red. "But what if you're wrong? What if I lose them?" He gripped her shoulders. "Then I'll still be here. Because I'm not here for the win, Emily. I'm here for you." For a moment, she wanted to believe him, but trust felt like a bridge too far. The next morning, the doorbell rang. Emily opened it cautiously and froze. Clara stood there, the nurse from the hospital, the one who had once slipped her a flash drive when no one else would help. "Clara," Emily whispered. "May I come in?" Clara asked quickly, glancing over her shoulder. Inside, Clara set a thick folder on the table. "I've been watching, collecting. You need this." Emily's hands shook as she opened it. Bank records, transaction slips, wire transfers. Clara leaned forward. "Michael isn't broke. He faked the financial losses, he hid millions offshore. And look, transfers straight to his mother. Patricia's been helping him. Funding his return." Emily's head spun. She knew. She's been working with him all along. "Yes," Clara said firmly. "This is a setup. He doesn't want custody because he loves them. He wants custody because it will destroy you. Patricia's helping because she'd rather see you dead than see you win." Emily pressed her trembling hand over her mouth. I can't fight them both." Clara reached across the table, gripping her hand. "Yes, you can. You have proof now. You have witnesses if you're willing to ask. You're not powerless." Emily's voice cracked. "Why are you helping me again?" Clara's eyes softened. "Because no one helped me when I needed it. Because I see you trying. And because those children deserve to grow up knowing their mother didn't quit." Emily sobbed into her hands. "Thank you. Thank you." That night, Emily stared at the folder long after the twins had gone to bed. Her fear was still there, sharp and suffocating. But underneath it, something else stirred, something hotter, heavier. Anger. If Michael wanted war, she would fight, not just with tears, but with truth. She began making calls, quietly, carefully. She reached out to people who had worked in Michael's mansion. One maid, her voice shaking, said, "I'll testify." He screamed at me until I cried. No one believed me then, but I'll tell it now. A driver added, "He cheated me out of pay. Called me garbage. I quit before he destroyed me." "I'll speak." Each voice was another thread in her net. Slowly, painfully, she wove it tighter. She also recorded Patricia. When Patricia called one evening, her words dripping venom, Emily quietly tapped the record button. "You'll lose, Emily. You're nothing. When the court takes those children, you'll finally learn your place." Emily saved the file. One more weapon. But the pressure mounted. One night, her mother's sister called. "Emily, you've embarrassed the family. Everyone says you're unstable. Maybe the kids really are better off with Michael." Emily dropped the phone into her lap, tears streaming. The knife twisted deeper. The twins found her crying and climbed onto her lap. Ella stroked her cheek. "Don't cry, Mommy. We'll be good at the trial." Emily hugged them tight, whispering, "It's not about you being good. It's about me being strong." But she didn't feel strong. Not yet. David came by often, his presence steady, his words simple. One evening he found her staring at stacks of paperwork, eyes hollow. "You haven't slept," he said. "I can't," she whispered. "Every time I close my eyes, I hear Patricia's voice. I see Michael smiling. I feel them taking the kids, David crouched in front of her. Emily, look at me." She lifted her eyes, wet and red. "You are not alone," he said. "Do you trust me?" Her voice broke. "I don't know how to trust anymore." "Then borrow mine," he said softly, "until you can again." Something in her chest cracked, but not in a painful way. She nodded, silent tears streaming. 2 days before the trial, Clara returned with more. "He's bribing officials," she whispered, her hands tight on the folder. "I can't prove how far it goes, but the court may not be fair." Emily's stomach twisted. "Then I've already lost." "No," Clara said. "Not if you fight smart. Stack the evidence so high they can't bury it. Don't give them a crack to slip through." Emily clutched her hands together, whispering, "God, please don't let me lose them." On the eve of the trial, Emily tucked the twins into bed. Ella clutched her bear. Ethan whispered, "You'll be with us tomorrow, right, Mommy?" Emily forced a smile. "Always." She kissed them, closed the door, and sat at the kitchen table surrounded by papers, witness statements, bank records, Patricia's recorded threats. Her hands shook, but her heart beat steady. For the first time, she felt like she was preparing for battle, not as a victim, but as a mother. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her throat tightened. She pressed play on the voicemail. At first, silence. Then Michael's voice, low and cruel, slithered through the speaker. "Did you think this would end with you winning? Tomorrow the twins are mine. The court is mine. No one will save you this time. Not your little nurse. Not your boyfriend. Not anyone. Tomorrow, Emily, you'll learn what it means to lose everything." Her breath caught. The phone slipped from her hand and clattered onto the floor. She stared at it, tears spilling, her chest heaving with fear. Michael wasn't just fighting her in court. He was in her home, in her head, in every corner of her life. Tomorrow, everything she lived for was on the line. The courthouse loomed grey against the morning sky. Its stone walls looked cold, unforgiving, like they had been built to swallow hope whole. Emily sat in the back seat of David's car, clutching her twins' hands. Ella squeezed her mother's fingers. Ethan whispered, "It'll be okay, Mommy." Emily forced a smile, though her stomach churned. "Yes, baby." "It will," David parked and turned, meeting her eyes. "You've done the work." "You have the truth. That's stronger than any lie," Emily nodded, though fear pressed down on her chest. The truth hadn't saved her before. Would it save her now? The courtroom buzzed with whispers as people filed in. Journalists, neighbors, even former friends who once turned their backs, all drawn to the spectacle. At the front, Michael sat tall, his suit crisp, his smirk smug. Patricia sat beside him in pearls, her chin high, eyes sharp as knives. Their lawyers spread papers across the table like weapons. Emily walked in quietly, head bowed, her lawyer Claire by her side. The twins sat with David in the back row, colouring quietly, unaware of the storm. Michael leaned toward Patricia, smirking. "She looks like a ghost." Patricia chuckled softly. "She's already lost." Emily heard. Her chest tightened. But she walked forward anyway, her steps steady. The trial began. Michael's lawyer rose, his voice smooth. "Your Honour, we are here because the children's mother, Emily Stone, is unfit. She suffers paranoia, hallucinations and emotional instability. She fabricated abuse, smeared my client's reputation, and endangered their children with her reckless behavior." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Michael leaned back in his chair, his smile widening. The lawyer continued. "Mr. Stone, on the other hand, has rebuilt his life. He has the resources, the stability, the family support, all things Mrs. Stone lacks. We submit that the twins will thrive in his care." Patricia dabbed at imaginary tears with a lace handkerchief. Emily's stomach twisted. She wanted to scream, but Claire's hand squeezed hers, a reminder. Wait. Be patient. The truth is coming. Witnesses were called. Emily's Aunt Margaret testified first, her voice full of practiced sorrow. Emily has always been fragile. She exaggerates, makes drama where there is none. Those children need strength, and Michael provides that. Next came Emily's cousin, eyes guilty but words rehearsed. She's not stable. I wouldn't trust her to handle stress, let alone raise kids. Each lie stabbed Emily deeper. She glanced at the twins. Ethan looked up, confused. Ella frowned, whispering something to David. Michael sat smug, as if the outcome was already written. By midday, it looked grim. The judge's face was unreadable, but his questions leaned toward Michael's side. Mrs. Stone, do you have proof of your claims? He asked at one point, his tone skeptical. Emily's mouth went dry. Yes, Your Honor. I do, Claire rose. We'd like to present evidence. Michael's lawyer scoffed. More fabricated stories? But the judge nodded. Proceed. Claire connected a drive to the projector. The lights dimmed. The first recording played. Michael's voice filled the courtroom, sharp and venomous. You're worthless. You should just die and save me the trouble. Gasps erupted. A woman in the gallery covered her mouth. Another clip followed, Michael raging, his words dripping contempt. This is my house, my money, my life. You? You're nothing but dead weight. Michael jumped to his feet. Those are fake. The judge raised a hand. Sit down, Mr. Stone. The court will decide. Claire clicked again. Bank documents appeared. Offshore accounts, transfers, Patricia's signature on authorizations. Your Honor, Claire said, her voice steady. Michael Stone faked financial losses to gain sympathy and hide millions. His mother Patricia funneled funds to him, aiding his return. The courtroom buzzed with shock. Patricia's face went pale. She clutched her pearls but said nothing. Then Clara was called to the stand. She held up hospital reports. I treated Emily the night she was brought in. She didn't collapse from stress. She was battered, bruised, near death. Michael Stone tried to bribe staff to call it a breakdown. I refused. Here are the medical files. The judge leaned forward, studying the documents. The tide was turning. Michael's lawyer scrambled, flipping papers, sweating. Your Honor, this is all... Enough! The judge cut him off. Michael stood, red-faced, slamming his fist on the table. This is a circus! She's lying! They're all lying! Mr. Stone, control yourself, the judge warned. But Michael couldn't. His voice rose, sharp and cruel. She's nothing. She's always been nothing. Those kids are mine. Mine. She doesn't deserve them. Gasps filled the room. The twins looked up, wide-eyed. Ella clutched Ethan's hand. The judge's face hardened. I've heard enough. The verdict came swiftly. Custody remains with Mrs. Stone. Mr. Stone's petition is dismissed. Furthermore, given the overwhelming evidence of fraud, bribery, and abuse, Mr. Stone is remanded into custody pending criminal charges. Patricia Stone's involvement will also be investigated. The gavel struck. The sound echoed like thunder. Michael's face twisted with fury. He lunged as bailiffs grabbed his arms. This isn't over. Emily, you'll regret this. Patricia tried to rise, but reporters swarmed, cameras flashing. Her pearl necklace snapped, beads scattering across the courtroom floor like fallen lies. Emily stood slowly. The room spun with noise. Reporters shouting, lawyers arguing, people gasping. But at the center of it all, she was calm. She walked to the table where Michael struggled against the guards. Her voice was steady, clear, cutting through the chaos. You told me I didn't deserve a happy ending, she said, but I do. And this time, I'm writing it myself. Michael froze, his eyes wide with rage. The bailiffs dragged him away. Patricia was left pale and trembling, abandoned. In the back row, the twins ran to Emily, wrapping their arms around her legs. You won, Mommy, Ella shouted. David smiled quietly, pride in his eyes. Emily knelt, hugging her children tight. Tears spilled, But they weren't from fear this time. They were from freedom. Outside, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Emily lifted her chin, her children at her sides. She didn't need to answer. The truth had already spoken louder than words. That night, in the quiet of their small home, Emily tucked Ella and Ethan into bed. They slept peacefully, their breathing soft and steady. She sat by the window looking out at the dark street. For the first time in years, the shadows didn't scare her. Michael was gone. Patricia's power was broken. And she was free. Evil may return, but truth outlasts it. Lies crumble. Betrayal consumes itself, and even the most broken victim can rise again, stronger, braver, and unshakable.